Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, the Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 707 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Roberto Monaco. And if you want to become the best in class with public speaking, stay tuned for the next episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have my speaking coach, Roberto Monaco, on with me. This is episode 707. It's the second interview of 2025. Really excited for where we're going today. We're going to talk about why it's important to master the art of public speaking, the talks that chiropractors must do to be successful moving forward, and how Roberto can help all of the chiropractors craft their talks and deliver their talks more effectively. And we're going to have him share his miracle story about how chiropractic changed his life. And maybe some of you will walk away crying today. And obviously, we want you guys to take a look at chirohustle.com/speak and take the free gift that we have over there. And it's just really great to have him on for another conversation about chiropractic today. Before we get into Roberto's messaging, I'm going to share with you our why. Why do we do what we do? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. I see that they're making some shifts on social media now, Roberto. So freedom of speech might become a little bit easier for us because as a show, a natural show, we know what it's like to be shadow banned and traffic throttled and censored. We'd never do that to you. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. They're not the same things. But if you're looking for that, as Roberto was, go find a chiropractor in your city and they'll help you. Philosophically speaking, we do protect BJ Palmer's sacred trust. They're the last words that he wrote. Go to our website, click on the show notes and hit sacred trust. You're going to learn more about chiropractic than you did before, I guarantee you. More philosophically speaking, because they're taking the language out of the chiropractic schools. And this isn't cool for any of us, especially Roberto, because he teaches communication. So if you start removing words from people's understanding of what the reality is, it changes the reality. So if you know a chiropractic student or a new grad that did not get fundamentals of philosophy, please share the show with them. I believe that they have to know what subluxation is. They have to know what innate intelligence is, universal intelligence, and educated intelligence. I'll close it out by saying we believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual, which creates an educated intelligence. And with that, this is episode 707. This is Roberto Monaco. Welcome.
Thanks, my brother. 707. I thought I heard 007. I'm like, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean? Congratulations. I remember years ago, I go to Palmer to do a talk. And I went online on my phone. I was preparing my talk, and I saw Jim Chester at Palmer, doing interview. And I'm like, man, that guy is always hustling, man. That's the guy who works harder than I do. So, and you're an inspiration for me, buddy. I love old school work ethic, and that's something that you're gifted and you have it. And I'm a fan. I'm a fan of you and your show and your discipline.
And, I appreciate that so much. And I've also seen you develop and the people that you've put into position to push this profession forward with the messaging. That's a big thing about, not only training well and having stories that we can share, but also understanding that if you can do this with all of the leaders of this profession, now we have a very tight group of people speaking the same language and helping more people, which I think is brilliant.
I love, like in a kind of selfish way. I'm not very selfish, but in a selfish way, every weekend when I'm not traveling, I go on Facebook and I look at the chiropractic events, and I always find the IFF speaker. IFF, for those who don't know, is Influencing from the Front, is the program that I've been doing for 20 plus years. And I always see them speaking at some chiropractic event. And part of me is like, oh, I'm there with them. You know what I mean? So I feel that fulfills me to see people who come to our classes because they believe in the power of chiropractic and the power of communication. So I always, I'm a big fan of people who are out there speaking, advocating. So.
Well, I'm sure that the chiropractic seminar circuit has improved because of the behind the scenes work that you help.
100%
with these docs.
You know, it's funny because I get the text to the speakers. I don't like to share things, but I get a text, man, I wish, man, you got to talk to this person, man. You got to take your class. You know what I mean? Because one of the things about chiropractors, and some people won't like, I'm going to be controversial here, right? But they say, you know what? I don't need to prepare. I'm just going to allow innate speak, right? I understand speaking on a flow, right? I understand being spontaneous, obviously. But if you think about the best of the best, the top athletes, the top performers, every professional in their field, they prepare, they rehearse, they have a strategy, right? And when it comes to speaking, a lot of chiropractors and leaders, they don't believe on that. They believe, I'm going to allow innate to speak. And what I tell them is that, yes, and if you know the influence laws, if you have a presentation structure, if you understand the psychology of the audience, you're going to be 10 times more effective, 10 times more consistent, right? It's not about suppressing innate. It's working with innate, adding influence, adding persuasion, adding presentation structure, adding charisma to make sure your message is heard and act upon. That's the idea.
Well, I know that there's a lot that you see it. Mm-hmm. You see the people out there performing, and then you get the recommendations for people that could perform better because their colleagues are there and they're seeing them like, if this person just did 10% more.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think that's the big takeaway there.
100%.
It's not that they've done something wrong.
No, it's not about like, there's nothing, for me, my friend, speaking is about life and death. Chiropractic terms, right? You're a doctor, you speak in a community, and either they get chiropractic and they go under care or they don't. Sometimes they're not necessarily die if they're not under chiropractic care, but they're gonna live a life less than possible. And so for me, the death might be a metaphorical death, right? And so I believe in don't speaking to inform, speak to transform. And unfortunately, in so many chiropractic events, they speak to inform, not to transform. I saw one of your posts, I think maybe 6 months ago, we talk about that there's a lot of politics for people that play around into chiropractic stages. I agree 100% with you. It's not like the most deserving, most effective speakers are there. Sometimes they're there in the stage because they know so-and-so and they get a chance, right? So I come from a place where if you are a professional speaker, which every chiropractic is, because you have a profession and speak, then you got to work, you got to put the work, right? You got to put the work. So
I know you touched on some of the things.
Okay.
But what types of talks should every chiropractor be doing?
I love the question. So if you're a chiropractor there and listen to us, here's the strategy. Number one, you got to have some type of internal workshop, right? Either a patient orientation class, some people like to call Better Results Faster workshop, a class that you do either once a week or every 2 weeks, okay? Minimum once a month. Why you want to do that? Number one is because you want to increase PVA. You want to educate people. And a lot of times that I've seen, doctors, they do the day one, day two, they close, and now they go, oh, people get it, but they don't get it. They just bought it, right? Care. But you got to, number one, educate them. Number two, is a chance for you to bring their spouse and friends so you can convert them as well. And number 3, which is important, you create a culture of education in the office. Now, when's the last time you went to a medical doctor and you get educated? Answer, never. Doesn't work like that. So now here's a chance for us to have a chance to like, hey, not only have this workshop, but later on, right? Later on, if you want to add other workshops, you already create this culture, right? And the fourth reason here, which is really important, a lot of chiros, they say, Roberto, I'd love to be an influence in my community. I'd love to speak in my community. I'd love to get outside talks, right? Let me ask you something, Jim. Have you ever refer a restaurant to your buddy? Hey, right here in Colorado, there's a great sushi place, but you've never been before. Have you ever done that before? No, right? Of course. Usually you go to the restaurant first, you try the food, then you refer, right? Usually. Mm-hmm. And what happens is when you have an internal workshop, that is the best place and time for your audience, meaning your patients and their friends, to experience your speaking, just like sushi or Italian food or Thai food, and then be like, you know what? I want to tell my friends about this restaurant. I want to tell a friend about this chiropractor. By the way, they're going to refer you to do a talk at the company, at the association, at the next mastermind. So the best place to actually get speaking leads is doing a workshop. Why? Because they just spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour listening to you. That's the best, right? So that's why it's so important. All these benefits, right? Culture, PVA, higher PVA, closing leads, closing for speaking gigs, right? And the fifth reason here, if you stop and think about it, nowadays the technology we have, and it's so cool to get video and use to get like a footage of you speaking and do clips, right, on shorts and Instagram reels. So I feel that if you record your class, now you can give to someone to edit your videos, and now we have like 20, 30 pieces of content that you can use on social media. So it's a super cool way for you to grow your business, to get new leads, to get speaking leads. And the last benefit is that you're the one speaking, and you're the one that has to listen to the message again, you know? So as far as the kind of talks, that's number one. Right? Number one, you gotta have internal workshop. The number two, you gotta do some type, in my perspective, some type of outside lunch and learn. Now, it is my calculation that if you see 100 different people in your office, okay, to make up math very simple here, you're going to get anywhere between 30 to 40 talks. Why? Because out of 100 people, you're going to have people that work for a company, they have their own company, they work for the government, they work for or are associated with a non-profit organization, right? They go to church, they're associated with retirement community. By the way, retirement community pre-COVID was amazing because they have time and money and they want to live longer, right? And there's nothing to do. So you have, it's just a matter of like being strategic about it, to think through it, and then you invite people to workshop, and now you ask for the referral, or if they've been to the workshop before, you know they work, you ask for a speaking introduction, right? Because look, number one thing, can you tell me any company organization that people are not stressed out? Everybody's stressed out, right? So do a stress talk in a community that is a home run. I had one of my clients for 15 years as a chiropractor, never done a talk. 1-5, relying on Facebook ads, which is okay. I'm not anti-Facebook ads. I think they're great. Meta ads, they're great. And they say, hey, can you help me? So of course, he came to the class. I started helping him after class, and it was super fun. He did he followed the system. He asked a patient for introduction. The patient worked for a real estate office. He did a talk, and there were 7 people. He got 5 people to come to his office. I didn't say 50, but five more for the first talk, not bad. And he was celebrating, I was celebrating 15 years. The number one thing that I hear all the time, Jim, is this: I wish I had known you when I left school. So outside talks. And number 3, if you want to level up, then doing the dinner with the doctor, some type of dinner with the doctor, which is kind of like a mix between the internal workshop, a stress talk, and you do a dinner once a month. If you want to level up, many doctors have built huge practices doing the dinner with the doctor program. There's more investment, right? But by the way, some of the doctors that we work with, instead of doing a patient orientation class, they do a dinner in a restaurant as a substitute for the patient orientation class. So you can do that too. But having an internal talk and having an external talk, that's the way to go. And then you can go for the doctors who are more advanced and they have more speaking. Then we can do a migraine workshop, works well. Hormones workshop works well. Neuropathy workshops work well. Knee workshop works well. Detox works well. Weight loss. And you can I always tell this. You can always put a chunk, a piece of content about the nervous system chiropractic. So I don't care what kind of topic is. There's always going to have the master controller system, the nervous system. You put a chunk there, and now you can have a chiropractic off in the end. So basically, I know it's a long answer here, but starting with internal workshop and outside talk to starting out.
Well, I'm going to add a few layers to this too,
Yeah.
because I've been learning with you and I've been tracking the work that you've done for some time. And I'll just tell you guys, what people pay for, they pay attention to. And if they trust you and they get results with you, they'll tell everybody about you. You just have to find ways to get those channels of communication open. So really, it's the chiropractor's job to shift energy and time and make something significant and make it super important for people to attend. That's the big takeaway for me is people can become great speakers and they can do it the right way. But you have to obviously create an event with a great topic and draw people in to give them an exchange for why they're going to be showing up to that.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And obviously we're hitting some big markers there, like likability. You know, people want to be around people that they like and they want to share their blessings with others. So they're going to say, you know what, this guy gave a talk at this lunch, or he gave this talk in his clinic, or he gave this talk at dinner. Now that's how that one talk becomes 40 talks.
Yes. One thing, I just want to add one thing that's so powerful, Jim. Most people, when they do a traditional campaign, Facebook ad, Instagram ad, or Google ad, when people come to the office, requires a lot of education, which is okay, it's part of it. When you do a talk, man, the people who are coming, they're already educated, they're already pre-sold, right? And that's the beauty. I always tell this. Years ago, 3 years ago, one of my buddies here calls me up and say, "Hey, you want to go shark fishing?" I live in Charleston. And I never been shark fishing. Say, yeah, I'd love to go. And he told me, okay, go to this website, get a license. I'll be tomorrow to pick you up 3:30 a.m. So I go pay $30 the license, fishing license for a day. Guy comes in 3:30, pick me up, and we drove to right here, Mount Pleasant, living outside Charleston. We show up on the beach 4 a.m. dark. Right? And then he pulled like 5 fishing rods of his car. And I look at him and said, "Who else is coming? But it's just you and me." He goes, No, it's just you and me. And I said, "No, but there's 5 fishing rods." He goes, "Don't worry about it." So we go to the beach and he put like the fishing rods, like one there, far apart. And we wait and we wait. Then all of a sudden, one rod goes like this. He pulls to the big shark. I have a picture. We got a shark. Now, on that day, the other 4, 0, no fish. But on that day, we caught like one shark. Now imagine if we just had 2 rods. I don't know. So what I want to inspire you chiropractors is that if you do believe that chiropractic is not a should but a must, if you believe that you change your life to chiropractic care, you got to have more than one marketing fishing rod. So you have your ads, or you have your paid ads. You may have your organic content, which is free. Everybody should be doing. You may have your email marketing, number 3, and you want to add your referrals 4 and speaking 5. You dominate. You just dominate. Dominate. Impossible not to it. So
well, closing up what I was mentioning before the fishing story. When people get a chance to see you in person, that builds social proof, and it makes you a significant individual. And that's the part where most people never talk about. It's like seeing somebody on the field playing a sport.
Yeah.
Like, you know that they're good because were picked and paid and selected.
Yeah.
And that's the same way I look at chiropractors. Is they're professional athletes and they're out there doing their thing, but they create social proof by delivering the goods. And the best part about what you're saying is when people find that third party validation, like, go see my chiropractor because he got great results for my baby. Go see my chiropractor because he got great results for the numbness and tingling in my hands. And really, as we come into 2025, I'll tell you right now, you're talking about these chiropractic seminars. You're talking about chiropractic groups. You're talking about small groups and clinics.
Yeah.
You're talking about small groups at lunch. You're talking about small groups at dinners. People want unity more than ever. They want to be a part of a community. They want to be around people that inspire them, that serve, that help, and that they know, like, and trust. It goes back to Napoleon Hill. Like, if you become know, like, and trust in your community, and people speak highly about you, these talks are going to be slam dunks. Like, you're going to have the funnest time. And then you're going to be like, why wasn't I doing this 15 years ago?
100%. 100%. For me, if you think about speaking, the first book on speaking, I wish I had it, is in my closet there, was Aristotle wrote a book, 328 BC, before Christ, wrote a book, Rhetoric. So if you think about it, 300 years before Christ, there's guys teaching public speaking already. So if you want to know a marketing tool that is proven for over 2,000 years, is this: open your mouth and talk well, right? So the idea, I feel like so many people, I always tell this, Jim, speaking is amazing. There's all these benefits. It does require work, right? If you ask me, what is the downside? The downside, how many times you got together, you're preparing your talk and you work and you're studying, like, the text takes time, right? But it's worth it because that's how we influence people. So I think the downside is, like, it's going to require some effort, unfortunately, while some ads or other forms of marketing, you may not be involved. But in the end of the day, this is for me, right? I'll never tell someone to talk about something they're not passionate about. For me, it's just when I go to an event and I do a talk, either a chiropractic event, other events, IFF, man, my fulfillment level is 10, like 10. It's like no other activity in my business fulfills me that way. So if you love chiropractic, you're like, I love chiropractic. Don't you love to talk about chiropractic? People who don't know about chiropractic?
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue VA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, the Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle. So I didn't script this for you, but I'm really curious at this point. When did you know that this was your superpower? When did you know that this was going to be the thing that you went all in on and you're going to help people tell better stories and be better public speakers?
Because I struggle, man. I remember I was in Brazil. I never been good with language. In Brazil, I studied Portuguese, learned Portuguese. My grades they're not very good. So language never came easy to me. But then I think my biggest strength is resilience and focus. So I always got good grades, not because I was smart, but because I outwork people. So I went to I got a BA in finance, work in a bank. And when I decided to come to America, I couldn't speak the language. And it's the biggest frustration when someone starts talking to you and you can't communicate and they think you're dumb because you can't communicate. It's not their fault. So I felt like here's a guy who somehow successful in Brazil. I knew my stuff, educated. Now, the most basic conversation, I couldn't talk. And I feel like there's no other way to put it. I feel dumb. I feel like, and that, the emotion, I think drove me in part to study communication. And then when I worked for Tony Robbins, I saw the power. I remember Tony Robbins was doing a training for us, for the speakers. And he said, you can take everything from me, my businesses, my plane, my island. With the power of speaking, I'll build everything back up again. And I'm like, I got it. I got the message. So I combined pain from not being able to communicate plus pleasure, right? And then I started studying, I got into it, and I realized the top 3%, I work with 50 industries, from mortgage, real estate, coaches, technology, and the higher you go in any field, the more important communication is. Why? Because now you get asked to be on podcast, you get asked to speak at an event, you get asked to do an interview, you're asked to be on radio, on TV. Right? So now, I'm not bashing anybody here, but when you were a cashier at 7-Eleven and you ring people up $2.99 all day, you don't need to learn how to communicate, right? How to frame, the laws of influence, how to storytell. You don't need to. But now you're a CEO or chiropractor and you have 100 people in front of you and you have to move them, right? You have to change minds, inspire hearts, inspire action. But you got to be able to, right, by talking. Right? I believe that in life, anything in life you get to two things, right? Through communication, action. Now, obviously, you gotta act. Behavior has to follow. But if you think about it, communication, how you talk to yourself, one, how you talk to the other person, two, how you talk to groups, how you talk to social media. So you get things in life, how you inspire other people to work together. You get things through action and communication.
So I'm making a couple notes here.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into your miracle story.
Okay.
But I really want to frame this out for people. Become a subject matter expert for your community. And the way to do this is by working with Roberto and talking to him about his trainings and workshops. I think it's really something that will inspire people. You know, that's a part where I love working with you, because people can't come in contact with you without leaving as a better person.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, buddy.
They might become a better speaker too,
yeah.
But they become a better person because of the innate intelligence that you pass on to them. You get an ability to shine certain parts of their life and let them find confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that is massive, because you understand your audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then you allow people to understand their audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then you give them the messages to connect their passion and somebody else's need.
Mm-hmm.
And through that subject matter expert gets a chance to build a business where they serve more people and help more people. It sounds very simple, like you said, but it will take some time and commitment from the people involved with wanting that. It's not just a fantasy. You just don't think it. And overnight you're like, I'm going to go be the greatest speaker in the chiropractic profession. It doesn't happen like that. You have to get lots of reps.
It really doesn't. You know, I've been working my craft. I still work I wasn't playing to use this prop. This I read the last couple of months, just like and I know I buy these books. I know 90%, but sometimes I get one nugget. I'm like, wow, that's good. I didn't know that, so I implement it. Right. So there's always room to take the next level for sure.
That's funny. As I wink, wink. I always hear the old guys talk about why they go to seminars is so they can walk away with one nugget.
But this it's true. It's true. It's true, man. Like you keep inspired to. A lot of times, sometimes. I have worked with a lot of leaders in chiropractic that sometimes they be like the conversation goes like this, man. I done thousands of talks in my community. Now I became a leader in the profession, and I wanna speak at stages, associations. I wanna level up my message, right? So, and there's also sometimes when you say I'm a speaking coach, people say I know how to speak. Of course, I'm not gonna teach you how to speak. It's not like I know you know how to speak. I'm gonna teach you how to be effective, because context shapes communication. So can you be effective in a 5-minute talk, in a half an hour talk, when you're closing for a $7,000 CBB care, when you're trying to speak in an event with like 10,000 people or 3,000 people, and you want to elegantly, and you cannot sell, but you want to move them? How do you do that? It's not like I'm going to teach how to speak. I'm going to teach how to be effective.
It's techniques.
Yeah, techniques. Yeah.
Yeah. And, knowing you as well as I do, and knowing the methods that you follow, they're very fundamental. And, I told you I'm going to John DeMartini this weekend to do his breakthrough experience. And I was saying to you before we started hitting the live button was you basically create a breakthrough experience for people to become better public speakers and to connect to stories better. And that's really what you do, is you help frame out people's ability to talk about things that they understand because of the life that they've lived. And then you apply that to messaging that will connect to more people. My big takeaway for people, if they want to become better at what you teach, is go to a lot of seminars and watch a lot of speakers. And see what people do. Like for me, some of the best things I've ever learned was by going to church. I watch a pastor his sermon, and I watch how they get people to interact with each other, how they get people to buy into the message, how they get people to get emotional, how they get people to walk away with like they're going to bring somebody next time to church.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about church. They have a whole science called homiletics, right? And homiletics is the art of speaking for pastors, right? The science of preaching. Homiletics. I read a couple books about it. So it's like, so it's not like, oh, they just go out there and just speak. No, they know what they're doing. They have a system. They fine tune the system. They have art, just like I teach influence. They teach, like they go to school. They learn homiletics.
How to connect to God. How to connect to Jesus. How to connect to a higher power. How to connect to a message of the Bible. I think that's super powerful. Let's close, people. I know that we're going to go over our time today, but you have this real powerful story, and I love it. I've heard it a handful of times. You talk about how chiropractic, this miracle story about how chiropractic changed your life, and why you've chosen chiropractic as one of your core groups to work with.
So the story goes like this. I met my wife. We just celebrated 10 years married, 14 years altogether. So 14 years ago, we met and we started dating, and we knew we want to be married and have kids. So right away, she said, I want to stop taking birth control pills. And then we went to many MDs. I was not involved with chiropractic back then. And then the MD said, well, there's nothing wrong with you. Go back to the pill. There's no advice, literally no advice. And then 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 7 months into it, her pill never came back. Right? And we're going to these doctors. No result, nothing. My wife started getting worried about it. And then one of my clients back in the day, Gary Gunderson, calls me up and said, hey, have you worked with chiropractors? I'm like, what is chiropractic? I have no idea what chiropractic was. He goes, well, let me introduce you to a guy. He introduced me to Dr. Chris Zano. So I helped. Chris was doing these dinners. He was closing around 50%. I remember he sent me one of his dinner videos, And in one coaching session, because I review a lot of talks, and it took from 60 to 90%. He couldn't believe it. And then start working together. And then one day he came to San Diego to do some coaching. I was living in San Diego, and I felt so embarrassed to open up, to talk about my personal problems. And I said, and I'm here sharing a podcast. And I said, hey, something wrong with my life, man. This is happening. And he looked at me like, man, you have been watching my videos, the chiropractic message for you and for her too, right? And I'm like, got it. So the next day, I go to, a couple of days later, I found a chiropractor, Dr. Ryan Hummel, which is your buddy, my buddy. And I remember walking in, Dr. Ryan Hummel took the x-ray, he sat down, and he shows my wife's x-ray, and it was crazy. Subluxation her neck, subluxation lower back, and it was like, it was literally right there, it's right here. And we're like, how come nobody told us? So we start chiropractic care. We both on the care, 6 months, 1 year. We felt good. Back in the day, had more allergies. My allergies got better. We would sometimes take aspirin. My wife take aspirin. No, stop taking drugs. But her period never come back. 2 years into it, 3 years into it, no period. So many nights, I go hug my wife, and I'm just hugging her, and I feel the tears in my arm just dropping because she was crying because she thought there's something wrong with her. And I remember it was December 24th, Christmas morning. I was in San Francisco. I had brought my mom from Brazil to spend with her mom, her family. And I remember it was like 8 a.m. I'm drinking coffee. Me, my mom, her mom, my wife is sleeping. She wakes up, goes to the bathroom, comes back, open the door, walking towards us, like bawling, just bawling. And we look at each other like, what happened? What happened? She goes, like, what happened? What happened? She couldn't talk. She was crying. She goes, I got my period. Dude, I have chills, goosebumps.
Every time.
Almost 4 years into it, the process. When chiropractors talk about healing takes time, healing takes time. And I remember us four in the kitchen jumping, almost like when you see the soccer players, they score a goal, and we are jumping, crying because my wife finally, after almost 4 years, got her period. Fast forward, I'm speaking for the MAC, Michigan Association of Chiropractors. I bring my wife with me. It was a winter time, beautiful day, snowing. And I do my talk, and my wife, right after my talk, she goes, I want to talk to you. I was like, and I'm thinking, she's telling me how good I did. Hey, your talk was great. I was expecting something like that. She goes, no, I have something better. You're pregnant. And again, we cry and hug. And then throughout this process, now I have a lot of chiropractic friends, and they kept telling me, you got to watch a movie, The Business of Being Born, on Netflix. By the way, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a movie about natural birth. So we watch it. And my wife goes, I want to have a natural birth, just like all these chiros have. So we found a birth center in San Diego. And after 22-hour labor on August 2nd, Sophia was born. It's crazy. The craziest experience of my life. The craziest. Nothing comes close. And when Sophia was born, we had 2 midwives there with us. And she wasn't breathing properly. She wasn't crying. She wasn't breastfeeding. She was like, had this noise like, so she goes, there's something wrong with her. And they attached this monitor to measure her oxygen levels. And they said, well, look, if she doesn't get better, we're going to go to the hospital, because by California law, she was born at 10:16 in the evening, 12 hours, 10 a.m. If mom and baby not healthy, go to the hospital. And they're just laying there, just waiting. And I remember getting my phone, and I'm like, I want to text Dr. Ryan Hummel. So I pick up my phone and text him and say, hey, buddy, are you awake? I told him the story. Can you come here, send a text? And he texted me back. He said, I was waiting for the call. And he came in. Sophia's laying down, and he touched her, goes, yeah, her atlas is off. I just heard once, waited. I just heard the second time. Check her, He just said, she's clear. Grab the Sophia, give to my wife, and just like a movie, Sophia went like this, threw up the ambiotic fluid that was stuck in her lungs, and she gave the most beautiful, powerful baby cry. I looked to my right, so Dr. Ryan Hummel crying, literally tears come down. He said, "Did you see the power of the innate?" I'm like, holy smoke, right? And he laughed because he had to open his practice. And then after 30 minutes, her oxygen levels normalized. The 2 midwife nurse came back and said, what happened? What happened? And I said, well, I called my chiropractor. He detected subluxation. I adjusted her twice. She threw up. She's fine. They go, no, what really happened? I'm like, what happened? Right? So that morning, we didn't go to the hospital. We went back home. Right? So now I have this baby, beautiful baby. Now, this is a very important part of the story, brother. 2 days later, I'm looking this healthy baby in my home. And I close my eyes for a second. And I finally relax. And the last 4 years start going through my mind, meeting my wife, all these MDs, no answer. My wife thinking there's something wrong with her. Oh, until now, it's healthy baby. And I had a huge breakthrough. Why I'm here on a podcast today. That's the answer right here. Because when we decided to do the natural birth, on day one, they had a class. Right? They say, we're going to do a class. Basically, is a 8-week class every Wednesday, 3 hours. All the families come to learn about the natural birth process. So there's 10 couples, 20 people. And on the first night, the instructor said, she asked this question for everybody. Why are you here? 20 people, right? And everybody, using different words, said the same thing. We are here because we want something natural, right? Everybody said. Now, out of the 20 people, right, only one couple being adjusted, which was me and my wife. And they do a reunion, meaning after 90 days, the moms go back with the babies. Only one baby was adjusted, Sophia. In a natural birth center where people were there because they want something natural. And usually when I'm doing this, telling the story in a live setting, I ask 2 questions. Why do you think that is? And people tell me, well, people don't know about it. And the second question is, what are you going to do about it? So if you listen to us is, what are you going to do about it? Right? So the reason I work for chiropractors, and again, I work with other industries, but I'll never leave chiropractic because chiropractic has changed my daughter's life, my son's life, my wife's life. I left California, moved to South Carolina because they didn't have a vaccine exemption. So I have we live a chiropractic lifestyle. How powerful that is. So I'm super grateful for you and for all the chiropractors along the way.
Big shout out to Chris Zano for working with you.
Yeah. Chris.
And was he chiropractor number 1?
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, he was number 1. Back in he was 2,000 plus 200 people and hired me to improve his speaking. You know what I mean? Like
that's your first. That's your first Jedi.
Yeah, for sure. And he was by the way, he was amazing already. Yeah.
A big shout out to Ryan Hummel.
Love Dr. Ryan
for coming selflessly to your house to do the adjustment, the birth center, but just coming, and serving and doing 100%. What the chiropractors say they do. Give for the sake of giving, serve for the sake of serving, expecting nothing in return.
Yeah.
Love for the sake of loving. It's the philosophy.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm going to just reiterate and we're going to close out. The big takeaway for me today is if chiropractors want to get better at telling the chiropractic story, they have to find that story that you just shared with us inside of them.
And they have it.
100%. And that's the big takeaway is people have to find that story that's deep inside of them and not thinking that it's weird.
Yeah.
But thinking that it's something that's going to help more people.
Yeah.
And I think that, like you said, people should go watch The Business About Being Born and become a subject matter expert, connect with your community. And if people wanted to do that with you, Roberto, and they wanted to take one of your seminars or come and do one of your influencing from the fronts, I do tell people to go to chirohustle.com/speak.
Yeah, start there. There's a free course there. I add a little course for you. And then once you go to chirohustle.com/speak, you got a free course. You can learn more about my work. Then obviously you're gonna get my emails and opportunity to connect with me. And I am in, like you, I am in all social media platforms. So
well, I'll tell people this to close then. Number one, even if you just sign up for the email newsletter, it's worth your time.
Yeah.
You know, I get so many emails on a day-to-day basis, and yours are always the emails I read. So if you guys want some great content, even if you don't ever sign up for one of his coaching courses and influencing from the front, just get on the email list and start learning how to craft better stories and how to take information and not just learn to tell the story, but to inspire people.
Amen.
With that, this is episode 707 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Roberto Monaco, thanks for being on with us today.
Love you, my bro. Thanks so much for having me.
Love you more. And just like I always close out, you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.